What is the worst possible ending you can dream up for Game of Thrones? Please subscribe, like and leave a comment. Much love to you all. George R.R. Martin wakes up in his Los Angeles apartment after passing out drunk during a rousing game of D&D. It was all a dream. It then cuts to his everyday life as a gourmet pizza chef, and you begin to realize all the characters inhabit his daily routines and such. And just as you begin to think it couldn't get any worse, you see Hodder opening the door for patrons entering a hotel across the street from his apartment complex. Lol, meanwhile you just hear a faint echoing of some lady yelling, "Hold the door." Okay, now I want this to happen. Halfway through the final episode, before the climax, the scene shifts to George R.R. Martin as he stands up from his typewriter, walks into the bathroom, has a heart attack and dies. Roll credits. Damn. You're tempting the Reddit jinx. It could be a story told by old Nan to Bran with the last words being, "And that's why you should never go climbing." It should be J. Walter Weatherman from Arrested Development saying that. It'd be like the ending of Life on Mars, where the main character gets transported back in time to 1973, does 2 seasons of 1970s police work, and last episode of the series wakes up to find he's been frozen in a deep sleep on board the first voyage to Mars. Yeah, it wouldn't sound bad if the series literally wasn't all about him doing police work in the 70s. They're about to have a great battle between the armies of the living and the dead, and the police show up and arrest everyone. What a cop-out. This should up on the screen in big purple letters. After which the famous drum noise is played, Badum TSSS. That's it. That's the entire season. It just cuts to credits midway through an episode, and after the credits the cast is there, and Peter Dinklage Fortnite dances. Orange Justice. Orange Justice into a default dance. It ends in the most predictable way possible. Jon Snow and Dany defeat the White Walkers and they both end up on the Iron Throne. Everything else wraps up neatly, and it's a happy ending. And then there's an end credits scene similar to the end credits scene in the Avengers, except instead of shawarma, all of the characters go to a Benihana and take turns at the glory hole. Judging by how the last 2 seasons went, the most predictable ending possible is probably the most likely. The Night King takes over. Everyone dies. The cities of men fall. Death toll in the millions. Camera pans over the paint. Faces of our many beloved characters. Cut back to Ned and Catelyn in Winterfell, and that's why you can't go to King's Landing, Ned. Worst ending, not best. The White Walkers are all killed by global warming. Fade to black. 1000 years later, intro to Waterworld starts. I just cringed for a solid 5 minutes. Damn that film. You wash your mouth. That was a great film. Rick Grimes flies in on a helicopter and machine guns the dragons and takes the throne. This is not a democracy anymore. Rick of House Coral declared from the steps of the Red Keep. Dany dies giving birth to Jon's twin children. Then it cuts to 20 years in the future where an older Jon tells his grown children, and that's the story of how I Met Your Mother, and his kids convince him that he should still get together with Ygritte. Oh god, I had just forgotten about the him ending. My heart, my soul. Why'd they do Barney dirty like that? Don't Stop Believing starts playing. Jon Snow orders onion rings for the table as an unnamed Northman walks by wearing members only chainmail. But what if it freeze frames with a fist pump by Podrick walking away? White Walker Joffrey claims the Iron Throne once more as all our favorite heroes are slain. I want this. And Fortnite dances. That's a good one. WW Cersei as his hand. All of the Starks as whites. Twitching on dragonglass stakes from the parapets of the Red Keep. Q Journey Don't Stop Believing. Cut to whites Jon and Dany twitching and flailing like Walking Dead zombies. Suddenly cut to black. How many thousands of replacement television sets would be sold the next day? Lol, this is perfectly infuriating. Cersei has sex with the Night King, snags the Ice Dragon, then rides it across Westeros, freeze frying everyone like she's the kid riding the damn luck dragon at the end of the never-ending story. It ends with a rousing Broadway rendition of Let It Go. I will smash my TV. The worst ending would be an unrealistic one, a happy ending for all the characters, however that could play out. That negates the entire story. Bonus points if it includes a corny freeze frame montage of all of the characters after it all ends with text explaining where they ended up after the conflict. After a final mind-blowing and satisfying scene, the scene changes to a suburban basement. We learn that this has all been an RPG being played by some kids, and after the game ends they get up to go eat dinner. Bobby Newport wins the throne after funding a successful defense against the White Walkers by handing out dragon glass Bobby bars, exclaiming "My dad made M." Bobby Newport never had a real throne in his life. Catelyn Stark wakes up after a horrible dream and Ned steps out of the shower. The Dallas version. The throne is actually alive and has been watching for ages. It gets upset that the very tall and short don't ever hook up. Humans from 2048 figure out time and interdimensional travel to King's Landing, spread their diseases and kill everyone while less drinking poison. All humanoids die. Camera pans back, you see a blurry face which starts to look like a red-headed man. It starts to look like Rick Astley, but the image clears, and it's Nick Cage. You realize you've been Nick rolled. FYI, I posted this same reply elsewhere as the best ending as well. Jaime and Cersei get married and then immediately divorced. Jon Snow meets the love of his life, she dies, and then his kids tell him he should get together with Daenerys. How I Met Your Mother aunt. I think Daenerys is going to give birth to Jon Snow's kid. But her and Jon will be killed. The baby will be raised by Sansa and Tyrion, who get together somehow. Jaime Lannister will kill himself after he kills Cersei. Bran will die, something related to the Night King. +1 for retard incest baby. They spend 4 episodes building up to the last great battle. Episode 5 is the night before the battle. The whole episode is Jon and Tyrion getting drunk and reminiscing, cutting back to past clips of the show. Episode 6 is more battle preparation and 5 minutes with each main character to show their state of mind. It ends with the White Walkers approaching the castle wall. Jon and Daenerys turn to each other, raise swords, smile, and fist bump. Credits roll. Donald Trump rips through the green screen and goes down the line of cast members telling each of them "you're fired." They end with a Bollywood movie ending dance scene, dragons and everything. Now I wanna see a dancing dragon. Thanks. I'm half convinced that winter will come, everyone will die, and only the ice zombies will remain. The moral of the story is stop obsessing over your petty squabbles when there's serious stuff you need to deal with, or it turns out that it's all just part of another park in Westworld. I really think this is how it will end. The battle for the Iron Throne will be won by the White Walkers, because it'll be too late to do anything about them due to all the other bullcrap people have been doing instead of preparing for winter and the undead. I think the final scene in the books will be the dead king sitting on a frozen iron throne surrounded by undead versions of all the characters paying homage to their new eternal king. I think if they had a suddenly, the author suffered a fatal heart attack cutscene of GRRM followed by dumpy 70s British police with sideburns arresting all the actors in the middle of the climactic battle sequence, I would be alright with that at this point. Add in a taunting Frenchman, and I'm up for it. As a genuine answer, end on a cliffhanger and let the audience make their own decision which way it went. That would legitimately make me angry enough to riot. Cersei, Tyrion, Varys, the Starks, Daenerys, the Greyjoys, Littlefinger, and whoever else is still alive all band together, and with the power of rainbows and friendship they defeat the Night King and his hordes of zombies. This is literally what will happen, but not everyone will join. And a bunch of people will be a-holes, a bunch more will die, and they will defeat the Ice King only after more than half the continent is entirely dead and frozen. A small army of orcs come out of the blue and kill all the White Walkers and co in 10 minutes with wooden arrows. Also, Jon Snow falls in love with Cersei. Also Sansa and Arya kill each other in a duel combat about a crush on Jaime Lannister. Jaime turns gay and start an incestual relationship with his brother Tyrion. Bran wakes up, only slightly injured from being pushed by Jaime Lannister off that Winterfell tower, and realizes it was all a dream, warning him of how the world would end if Eddard Stark rides south to King's Landing with King Robert Baratheon. On second thought, let's not go to King's Landing. 'Tis a silly place. The final battle is about to start. Then suddenly, we cut to the Never Gonna Give You Up music video. This lasts for the rest of the episode. It's all just a bedtime story being told to a little boy by his grandfather. The little boy would be sitting in stunned silence. He would also be Fred Savage. Alien invasion of Westeros, followed by a whole season of intergalactic fighting for the crown of the 7 galaxies. They would make 10 possible endings, each with a different person sitting on the throne, and each would be released in a different state, USA, UK, FR, SP, etc. People would then go and argue about how I truly ended. So during the final climactic battle, the show is switching between the main characters, showing what each of them is doing. Finally it's Jon Snow's turn. He gets surrounded by White Walkers, and it looks grim. All of a sudden he gets hit in the head and blacks out. The screen fades to black. After a couple seconds the screen starts to fade in again, and Jon Snow has his hands bound, and is in a cart. Someone out of frame says, "Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us, and that thief over there."
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.